I need the John Brownification of Amperu yesterday.
Yeah.
Start your sublight engines. It's time for RuPaul's Pod Race, a queer Star Wars podcast. Welcome back to another week of chaos. I'm Noah. My pronouns are he, him. And my gender this week is the Grand and Sliviter. And she is just so skinny that when she turns to the side, she disappears.
Sliviter? In Sliviter?
No, yeah, because she's sliving. She's slaying and living and being an inquisitor. And I did make a visual aid to sort of communicate what I was thinking about that picture here is the Sliviter. She's just because people were like, oh, how did the Inquisitor survive being stabbed? Well, that's the thing. He wasn't stabbed. He's so skinny that when he turned to the side, the blade missed him. And then he just played dead for the rest of the show up until now.
He has been working on, we won't post that visual aid on social media. He has been working on it for like hours. Like,
it didn't take me hours. I was just perfecting it. Like, I added heels.
He was giving a TED talk about it. Like, I knew what his gender was going to be because I saw it happen.
It's the Inslavition. It's like they're sliving and they're also employed by the Empire.
I just want all of our listeners to know that the two cis people are in the same vicinity right now, and I think it's very toxic, and I don't want to prove.
We did say we were going to be really annoying tonight, and I think so far I've really lived up to that expectation.
I'm Mel. I use they, them pronouns. You can find me on social media at Melvin Culpa and on TikTok at Gruckle Rex. And my gender this week is Reva playing Among Us in real life.
So true.
She's a bit of a sussy baka when you think about it.
She's a bit of a sussy baka when you think about it.
Yeah,
Anyways.
We did watch it, and Mel, when that happened, Mel looked over at me and said, my gender this week is going to be sussy baka Reva. So I'm kind of sad you didn't go with that, but I like the energy.
I will say I want someone to take the scene where she's fighting Vader and dub the Among Us theme over it. So if any of you want to get on that little project, I'd love to see it.
Reva is imposter, not clickbait.
Oh my God.
I want that. I want the do 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 do, but I want it to be specifically in the scene where all of the Inquisitors are in their gay little fortress and
So
Fifth Brother's
true.
being a bitch, and she's like, actually, you're a fucker.
No, because that little table is just that's their emergency meeting
They're
table.
calling a meeting. Oh my
Okay,
God, this is
anyways.
just like Among Us.
God.
My name is Ollie. I use any pronouns. You can find me on social media at OllieFresh, fresh with APH. And my gender this week is Virgin Callus versus Chad Tala.
So true.
He wishes
So
he was
true.
her. Like, he came around in the end. I understand everyone has a different journey.
He heard about her and he was like, I want to be like her.
I don't think he did, because if he had heard of her, he would have been there sooner.
Okay.
I like the idea of Sabine telling him about her, and he's like, oh, that's a lot like me when you think about it. And she's like, but did you die, though?
He's like, not yet. And she's like, okay, we'll think on that.
Yeah, let's try harder next time, babes.
That's Sabine suicide baiting.
I don't think she's suicide baiting him. I think she's just implying that maybe he needs to work harder and maybe die.
She's like, are you down? Would you die for the cause, bitch? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, yeah, you haven't. Actions speak louder than words. If Tala had been in Rebels, this wouldn't have happened.
So true.
Kanan would still be
Absolutely.
alive. Ezra wouldn't be missing.
No, Tala would have gone straight for Price's throat immediately. Hi, my name is Claudia. My pronouns are she, her. You can find me on social media at Kaludia says, Kaludia says. My gender of the week was actually assigned to me by my friend Katie, who is a listener. And it is the artist formerly known as Anakin Skywalker. Because this was the great flashback episode that all the like toxic boys were like waiting for, but it really was just like, hey, remember this idiot? Yeah, he's still that idiot. He just is fucking 7 feet tall and in a suit, and I think that's very funny. We're gonna talk about him a lot more, and
I don't think we are.
Actually, you know what? Fuck it.
We won't be doing that. Sorry,
we're
guys.
not. But yeah.
Hi, I'm Jess. My pronouns are they, them. You can find me on social media at Kawaii Jessio. That's Kawaii Jessio. And my gender this week is no thoughts, head empty, Luke Skywalker.
So true.
I do love Luke just being like, Damn, that's some bullshit. Anyway, I'm taking a nap now. He must be having buck wild dreams. He's like,
Okay, but to be fair, that's how he is their whole life. Like, you know, in The Last Jedi, he's like, I'm fishing, I'm in my little hut, whatever. Leia's like, I'm 60 years old and still swinging. I gotta fight the First Order, whatever. I'm like, wow, things really don't change. Ever.
yeah.
Interesting. Before we get into it, though, whether or not you are on Twitter or you're on other social media where they have reposted this, it has been quite refreshing that these Star Wars social media handles have decided to start bullying the motherfuckers back, the Fandom Menace people. I never thought I'd see some shit like that in my life. I don't know, you've seen before how they were like, hey, if Moses Ingram is great, stop being racist. And then after that, Ewan McGregor was like, hey, stop. And that was pretty great. And then this week, Happy Pride Month, they posted one of the Pride variant covers for the Pride collection of the Marvel comics, and some idiot responded being like, keep that woke shit out of my Star, it's not political, whatever. And the Star Wars swagman, they did respond, and they were like, well, politics, Star Wars has always been political. It is in the name of Star Wars. And also, queer people existing is not inherently, I don't know if they said inherently political or whatever. And I was like, those are both things that we say on here a lot, whatever. And I was like, I work in social media for a living and for brands and IP and shit. Like, I never in my motherfucking life would have thought that would ever happen with Star Wars. My jaw did hit the floor. It is still a corporation, and I'm still trying to, like, not make a big deal out of it or anything. But I was like, holy shit.
I just wanted to say that I saw one of that response from the Star Wars Twitter. It was just like, yeah, like it's always been political, and like, you know, this just exists. And then someone responding to them, and they were just like, oh, what are we going to talk about, like taxes next? Like, what is this shit? And then people roasting that person because they're just like screenshot of the opening crawl of Phantom Menace. And I'm just like, I guess you're not really a Star Wars fan if you couldn't even remember the whole reason why the Phantom Menace started was because of the taxation.
I also saw a response that was like, Star Wars isn't political. Like, one, in Star Wars, has it been like reflective of like our politics here in the real world? And someone was like, the like originals are like a critique of like US imperialism, and they were like, what? That means the US would be the empire. And it fucking sent me to goddamn space.
Yes, oh, that one was one where they were like, Star Wars isn't like about a real life war unless it was talking about Vietnam, and in that case, the USA would be the empire.
Also, I'm actually sorry, I had one more thing. One might say, like, well, there's still no fucking queer characters on screen in Star Wars. Like, why bother saying something like that? And there's also a lot of too little too late kind of stuff. And I agree with a lot of that, but also, like, for example, with the Acolyte show, they have cast a queer non-binary person of color as the lead, as far as we know, and probably the lead may be queer themselves. And I hope that it's starting to do shit like now, even though it's far too little too late. I would hope would lay the foundation for when you have a large queer character on screen. I'm saying words that are never going to happen, but if we were to have it, that at least we would set the precedent of we have been bullying people into submission beforehand, which is cool, instead of just being like, oh no, people are misogynistic, racist, homophobic, transphobic. What do we do? So hopefully it's setting a better precedent until then, beating some bitches with a bat before then.
No, because you don't understand. Cohmac Vitus is going to be in the Obi-Wan finale, and he's going to kiss Obi-Wan gently on the mouth and be like, hey, dude, this is pretty fucked up. I was just running in the woods. What happened?
Obi-Wan
ran into the woods and got stuck in the world between worlds, and now he's in Kenobi.
And got fucking spat out on Tatooine, and he's like, what the fuck happened? Where my dick at?
He fucking shows up at the Lars homestead, and Reva walks in, and she's like, oh, who are you? And he's like,
I could ask the same, girlie.
Great question. What's up? I like your outfit. Don't love your little red lightsaber.
Okay, and concept, this is how Cohmac Vitus can just sort of insert his way into the Lars Polycule. And then this is how we get the whole thing. Okay, the idea that Cohmac Vitus is the thing that fixes the now broken Lars Organa Polycule that Obi-Wan broke by leaving. And they're like, well, we have this guy now, and he's twice as cunt as you. So I don't know why you think you can come crawling back after leaving. Just saying that's be possible. Okay.
I just want to mention also at the end of this episode, or towards the end of this episode, we have Bail Organa sending that little message being like, hey, if you don't answer me, I'm going to be really concerned. And I'm going to have to go to Tatooine and make sure that like Luke is okay. The Bail Organa portion and connection into that polycule, we're not discussing it. We're not discussing it enough.
No, because I think here's a thing that I never even really thought about until right now. The idea of Owen and Beru knowing Bail and Brea and just being like
so
like fucking Owen fucking texts Bail and he's like, hey, just wanted to see if Leia's also doing this thing because Luke's doing it, want to make sure it's not like a he's weird thing.
Yeah, Luke is levitating in the middle of the night.
Does Leia do that?
And Bail's like, oh yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. Oh, thank God. I thought I was a bad parent.
She like influences people's minds all the time. I gotta tell her to cut out. Like Luke does that, right? And he's like, no. And he's like, oh, interesting. Oh, what if they were really competitive parents?
No, because they would be the worst competitor. Like, also, I'm just gonna introduce a concept, but mommy blogger Bail Organa, I feel is a true statement in my opinion.
So true.
And I'm just
he'd be so proud of Leia. He's just like, look at my daughter today. Like, look at Leia, wouldn't even do a little spin, show them your outfit.
It wouldn't even be like a proud of you thing. Like she'd make like a paper cutter at school, and it wouldn't even be like, oh, she made this. He'd be on his like Twitter being like, it's better than everyone else's. You know that in your heart.
I do fear that he would be one of those girl dad people.
Yes, he has a shirt that says hashtag girl dad.
Bail Organa's hashtag girl dad shirt is everything to me.
Girl dad crop top.
Bria's like, I don't want to associate with this.
No, because listen, solidarity. Bail's girl dad shirt versus Beru's boy mom shirt.
So the two genders. We've cracked the code.
They would be besties. Are you kidding?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
He would learn about how, spoilers for Queen's Hope, but he would learn about how, like, Beru was a part of a freeing slaves operation with Sabe on, actually he probably would already know about that maybe eventually because of Sabe or whatever, on Tatooine, and he'd be like, so slay of you. I just think that they're neat. I hope I get to see Bail Organa again one more time. I miss him very much.
I wanted to talk about the flashbacks. The slay little flashbacks. We got mullet Obi-Wan back again. I mean, we kind of have him, but it wasn't like fully like mullet, you know? But like flashback Obi-Wan was fully like, it's me again. Attack of the Clones. Here we come. Although I was like, oh no, not Anakin's little rat tail again.
Poor Hayden Christensen. They were like, you're back. You don't get the fun wig. You get the rat tail.
You get the rat tail, and not just that, also, we deepfake the shit out of that guy who is playing Luke Skywalker. You, for the most part, are just gonna raw dog it, and it'll be fine. And honestly, I liked it. I thought it was fine.
I appreciate that they did not deepfake his face. Good God.
Yeah. How funny would it have been if they did deepfake his face, though?
Please
like,
don't.
They just deepfaked him to be, like, 20 years younger. Because I was like, oh my God, Anakin Skywalker. He's like the 40-year-old virgin, and I love that for him.
At that point, he is the 40-year-old virgin. Like,
he is
before he met Padmé.
I think it'll be funny if they're like, oh, actually, guys, because Anakin Skywalker looks older, is this a retcon? Are they going to make Anakin older in Attack of the Clones? This is how woke Disney is ruining Star Wars.
No, Anakin was just like a little tired during that part. You know, sometimes when you're really tired, sometimes you just look like that. I think Anakin was just probably really tired during that day. You know? He's like, Master, I don't want to do a duel right now. I have not slept in 48 hours. And Obi-Wan's like, nah, buddy, we got to train.
So, okay, and this is my concept. He wasn't tired. He just took about like I want to say like a 2.5 minute detour on the beach from old and like just added on a couple years.
How did he youngify himself again then?
So he went to the actual, I don't know if you guys have heard about this. I know it's still under wraps, but I didn't want to talk about it. The Beach from Young is a new movie coming out that I'll be directing.
The movie, is it called Young or is it called The Beach from Young?
No, so it's titled The Beach from Young. I because basically in the universe of the movie The Beach from Young, there's a beach that makes you young.
Also with the flashbacks, because the whole time it's like basically Obi-Wan trying to tell Anakin like, hey, bestie, you gotta learn how to be patient, like and not always just be on the offensive. You could like take some pointers and step and until you learn to be more patient, you're gonna just be a Padawan forever, bestie. And you kind of see in the episode like, but Vader this entire time has been being patient because he's just like, I know what you're up to, girl boss, pussy queen. I'm gonna dub you Quizzy 2.0 and let you do your thing. And by the end of it, when sorry to skip to the end, but when our beloved girl boss Reva is like, time to kill you, he's just like, nah, I knew you were gonna try to pull this shit on me. You can't pull a fast one on me. I'm Vader. And I'm just like, fuck you, Vader. But also he finally learned his lesson.
Something that I will say when he's like, dude, if you don't learn patience, you're gonna be a Padawan forever. I'm like, he really should talk to the toxic girlies on Star Wars Twitter and TikTok who are like, oh, why aren't we seeing flashbacks in the first episode? Dear, maybe you should have some patience because this thing called a story structure. Anyway.
What? You mean Soups' PowerPoint wet dream couldn't happen episode 1?
I mean, if it had, the show would probably be so much better. That was honestly, a joke.
Yeah, no. I will. So here's the thing too that I just want to circle back to. So Reva getting made the Grand Inquisitor is also, it really makes sense in canon because she's also just so skinny. Like it just, I think to be the Grand Inquisitor. No, but I will say, the thing that I liked a lot about this episode and something that I've been feeling about like Star Wars in general is that for a lot of how we see Vader, it doesn't really feel like we're seeing Anakin. They do feel like so separate. And like something that I loved about this episode was that I finally was like, not finally, but like this is one of those moments where I was like, oh, I really do see that like these are the same man. Like they're not two distinct people. They're not living different lives. Anakin and Vader are very much one and the same person. And I really liked how they like just like how they shot that, but also how it factored in story, the fact that it is Vader's lack of patience and inability to control his anger that does always end up shooting him in the foot. I was like, thematically, very slay, actually.
No, absolutely. And I think that also has to do a lot with, because this story is being told somewhat from Obi-Wan's perspective, it's the marriage of the two. It's the denial of like, there's this scary man, he can't be my bestie. And then it's like, okay, well, fuck, he really is. And I'm gonna be able to bitch about it because this is some bullshit. Which I just find to be incredibly slay.
It's really nice to see that. I know we talked a little bit about it in, I believe, last week's episode, where I think it's really, really interesting to see Vader from a different point of view. And I think having him be like, oh, well, Reva is your point of view character. And I think now that we know a bit more about Reva, having her as our POV character has changed a lot of how we view Vader in this context. And one thing that I did want to mention, I know we're kind of jumping around in the episode, but when Anakin was like, and I call him Anakin because he is, but also he's Vader. But when he's like, yeah, oh my god, hey youngling, you think I didn't recognize you? I was like, oh, you don't feel bad about it, huh? Like, you don't feel bad about slaughtering children. Uh-oh, Anakin, that's not good.
Uh-oh.
I think that was also something that was very slay, was that this is the episode that all the dude boys wanted. They wanted the flashbacks. They wanted obviously the Revenge of the Sith parallels.
Yeah, they wanted the freaking Order 66 Anakin player moment.
They wanted to see him killing children, which is like, Jesus Christ. They wanted to see him do all those things. But instead, in this episode, they're like, yeah, and he's really fucked up. And really whatever. And also, not to plug the books and comics or anything, but we were talking about, it gives us a very good picture of how they are the same person. I was like, Deborah Cho, are you a fan of the Charles Soule comics? because it is having the same vibe as Vader in those comics of like, he is so palpably Anakin, or the scene in Rogue One that I love so much. Like, he is so palpably Anakin. He is a bad person, but he is so palpably Anakin. And that makes it all the sadder.
I felt good in the fact that we did, like, go over the things that Anakin has done that the Dude Bros wanted to see so bad, and it is framed as, this is so terrible. This is not epic. This is harrowing. Truly fucking harrowing. And Reva, I'm rooting for you, girlie. I know that that's not what happened, but in my canon, you are gonna beat the shit out of him to death.
I will also say this, shout out to Moses Ingram for acting her fucking heart out in that scene, because when she was like, where were you when my literal like friends who were kids were getting killed by him? And I was like, I'm getting emotional at this. Like, I think one thing, my biggest gripe about Order 66 is that often when it's presented as like shocking, but not like sad and or like genuinely harmful. And like, you really feel for her in this moment. And you like, I was thinking about it a lot because in terms of like viewing Order 66 as genocide, one of the ways that people survive them is by joining up with the people doing the genocide in the first place. And seeing Reva find this mechanism of maintaining power and stability as joining up with the Empire is genuinely interesting. And I think ultimately it was a really cool moment for Obi-Wan to kind of be put on the spot. And like, I'm not being like, yeah, Obi-Wan, where were you? But like, just the recognition of the fact that he does bear responsibility in who Anakin ultimately becomes. And I think the biggest thing about this whole, like, seeing what Anakin did, and I think like Ollie pointed out, like the fact that he has no remorse for it is so interesting, because I feel like so often we view Anakin and Vader as like, oh, something like psychologically shifted, but like Vader is literally a step down from Anakin. Like, they're not that different of people. It's just Anakin with less inhibition about it. And I was really interested to see how this episode explored a lot of those, like Mel was saying, like these epic things in a very visibly unepic way, because like the things that Anakin does at the end of the Clone Wars are bad. And it was interesting to see how that functioned.
I think that another really interesting part about the scene where Reva is like, where were you? Is I think it's also like she's talking to Obi-Wan being like, dude, you were his master. What was your sitch? And I think it's easy to be like, okay, well, he was riding around on a big ass lizard getting his ass shot down by his boyfriend. But I think that it's also an interesting concept of like, how do the Jedi who survived Order 66 look back on the Jedi Council? Because Obi-Wan, we mustn't forget, was a member of the Council. So at that point, she's talking to Obi-Wan like, where were you as his master? But also like, how come we didn't see it? And I'm a Jedi Council I'm a Jedi defender to the core. I think that we've been over it on this show, but there's a lot of like, oh, well, the Jedi Council, blah, blah, blah. Like, they were in an impossible situation, which is kind of the point. But I think it's a really interesting thing to see, like, well, certain Jedi view what happened in different ways. And Reva, who is now also clouded by using the dark side, is like, fuck you guys, fuck the Council. Like, how come you guys weren't prepared for this? How come you guys didn't see this coming? How come blah, blah, blah? Like, there are so many reasons why her asking that question is so hard hitting. And especially right on the tails of her being like, yeah, I had to like use these very real tactics for how people survive situations that are very harmful, that may include like mass death. Like that was just a lot. And I think it was a really, really interesting question for her to ask that informs a lot about how people see the Jedi Council.
I think this is also, so in one of the first couple of episodes, we see Obi-Wan realize that Anakin is alive, and that connects quite well to A New Hope. And then this is the episode where we see him kind of connect the dots of how does Vader affect other people? Not only is he alive, but these are the things that he did and has continued to do that I didn't really know about. And so this is something that the prequels have done well, and that this show does really well, is make the original trilogy, especially A New Hope, give them more depth, I think. Like, Obi-Wan is very, and some people blame him for this, when he's with Luke, he's like, we don't have time. You gotta go kill your dad. And people were like, whoa, slow down. And it's probably because he spent 10 years thinking Anakin was fucking dead and blaming himself. Then he realizes he's alive, realizes all the horrible shit he did even after Order 66 and the ways that it's affected people. And this is the first time he sees it. I'm sure there's going to be more. Obviously, the people hunting Leia or whatever. And then from the next 10 years until Luke is whatever, he's like, he's got to go. He's got to go. Like, and this is the start of that, almost an obsession, if you will, which is a bit sad for Luke or whatever. But it's like, for me, I was like, oh, this is the first time he's had to really go, oh shit. He didn't even know he was alive before.
Yeah, and I could see that being a way that Obi-Wan is freezing in his, like, desire to teach Luke. Not only because the Larses are like, hey, dude, can you step the fuck away from our child right now? But also, like, if he fucks this up, he fucks it up so hard that the galaxy will explode, for reals, for real.
Speaking of like Obi-Wan's sort of paralysis, one thing that I loved about this episode, which I similarly love about pretty much every non-force sensitive character in Star Wars, is that whenever they're involved in the rebellion, they're very much like, yeah, we could fuck it up. And yes, this could go very poorly, but like the only opposition to fascism is fighting. It's not neutrality. Like, cause Tala has a moment where she's like, look, dude, I did some fucked shit. Like, no way around that. I did bad things, but the only way that I can even get close to atoning for those is to do better and be better. And if that means losing my life for this, then I'll do that. But because I think ultimately what we've been watching Obi-Wan re-become over the course of the show is like what the Jedi, I think, ultimately are meant to be, which is just a group of people for the defense of others. And like he's gotten back into that role of like not just leadership necessarily, but like realizing that the only way to deal with the Empire and to deal with Vader by extension is not to sit there and be like, wow, that sucks. Because I mean, Talos at one is like, yeah, it does. The only alternative to sitting there and saying it sucks is dealing with it. And you're out of options. We gotta go.
This episode, there was such a clear to me moment where Obi-Wan shifted back into Jedi mode of him being like, okay, I am the negotiator. I'm going to go talk to Reva. I'm emailing Taylor myself. I'm going to her to like talk. And it just reminded me so much of in the Clone Wars movie where he goes to talk to fucking that gentleman. I don't remember what his name is. He looks like an armadillo.
Oh,
and then he
David Tennant ass?
Not David Tennant.
Oh my god, not David Tennant. Oh my god, what is his name? John DiMaggio?
John DiMaggio. I was gonna call him.
Sorry,
I was gonna call him Tony Shalhoub, and so I was like, that's not correct.
Neither of us were right. We both wrong white men.
Yeah, so true. Anyways, and then did, violate a Geneva Convention, but it's okay because they're fascists. Question mark.
Obi-Wan, the amount of times that bitch is falsely surrendered, I can think of at least 3 off the top of my head. This one, when he was talking to the Zygerians, and in the Clone Wars movie, like, dude, I mean, slay, but also...
The Zygerians, they're slavers.
No,
you know what?
Listen,
Fuck 'em.
I'm not saying that he was ever wrong. I'm just saying that it is a violation of the Geneva Convention.
It is. When you said that there's a clear moment, like last week we talked about like, oh, he's slowly like he's wearing Jedi clothes again, and like in this one he sees lightsabers and he's like wearing a cloak again and whatever. But there's also, and we see him doing you see him becoming more of a Jedi again, and I think what Noah was trying to say of being helpers or whatever, like I see them, the Jedi are not usually the ones to instigate something. What they want to be is, and what they are supposed to be, is the catalyst to help others initiate change or to help themselves. That's their whole thing. They're like, we are diplomats, or we come there and we help, whether that's the defense or whatever. And he's slowly going back into that. But we also saw him switch back into Clone Wars battle mode. There were several moments in this where I was like, whoa, this has become a Clone Wars episode. Holy shit. And obviously there are actually a lot of references to different parts of Star Wars. Rogue One, the Clone Wars, various other things that we'll get into in this episode that I was just like, Deborah Chow, you motherfucking get it. You get it more than any other bitch. Maybe the only other bitch who gets it is Dave Filoni, but like Deborah Chow, I'm obsessed with.
Deborah Chow can write a woman. Dave Filoni cannot say the same.
So
Anyways,
true.
Yeah, I completely agree. The Rogue One parallels the K2SO vibes and Bodhi Rook vibes of Tala and of oh my god, Ned B. Is that what his name is?
Yeah, Ned
okay.
B.
I always wanted to just call him Ned, and so I know that that's not his full name.
Is there a relation? Do we know if he is related to Mel B, or is that like a
so
just same?
true? He's
my
Mel B's
God.
cousin. Yeah, it did hurt me quite badly when Ned got shot like that. I was like, no, my homeboy.
There is a line in the Rogue One novelization when K2SO is dying, and he it is quite possibly one of the saddest lines in any Star Wars book, where I believe he says, K2SO tried to like visualize or run through a scenario where Cassian Andor lived, and that made him happy or something, like in his last moments, and you're like, hey, what the fuck? What the fuck? And that's all I could think about as I was watching this, especially because she dies anyway. I was like, oh no, I hate it here.
It's quite dark, isn't it? Speaking of like parallels and other things that remind us of other things, the part specifically in this episode that gave me the most like chilling, like, oh, there's things happening, and Jess kind of helped me connect some of these dots earlier before we started recording, but Vader does that thing where he like takes the ship out of the sky, which was also very Clone Wars-esque, of like, ha ha ha, we got you. But Vader taking the ship,
rips it to shreds.
exactly, he like beats it the fuck up.
Very Fallen Order when he's just like ripping shit apart.
That's
So
what I
true.
said when I watched the episode too. I was like, oh my god, Fallen Order moment.
I know. I'm like, just imagine me running inside of that ship being like, oh my god, he's gonna beat my ass, I gotta go.
The visual of that reminded me of a couple of things. One, for me, as a High Republic stan, it reminded me of Avar Kriss when she takes down the Nihil ship, where she's like, okay, you're coming home with me, please, cease and desist, I'm
You're
gonna
done.
beat the shit
You're
out
done.
of you. And that's a moment of rage consuming her, right? And then, Jess, do you want to talk about the things that it reminded you of?
Yeah, like in Rise of Skywalker, the moment where Rey is like, no, you're not fucking taking my bestie Chewbacca away, get the fuck back here right now. So, see, we love a Rey Skywalker and Anakin parallel.
The other parallel is Ahsoka, and I thought about Ahsoka a lot in this episode. Her presence is very both felt and her absence is felt in the show. But in that moment, like, there's a notable moment when she's one of the few Jedi other than the fucking chosen one, and Rey, who is obviously super powered for other reasons, and Avar Kriss, who just be like that sometimes. But she's got that special High Republic juice. But she's one of the few Jedi who can just stop a ship, and she stops Maul's ship, and not just Maul's ship trying to leave, but as she is on another ship that is falling in atmosphere. Like, that bitch is powerful. And with her moment, I love comparing Ahsoka moments with Vader moments because they are quite similar, except for that she always chooses the light. And in that moment, it is a moment that could be a moment of rage. And then she has to choose to let him go. She has to choose to let Maul go in that moment. Kind of actually like Rey, where she has to, because Kylo also tries to hang on, and then she has to let go. And then, of course, she's like, why can't I do Force lightning? And then there's all that. But it's a very notable thing. And the only other time we see someone kind of do that thing where they try to catch a ship in the air is there's two Inquisitors that try to do it together. They're not powerful enough to do it themselves in Rebels. And it's very interesting to me to see it. But speaking on parallels with Ahsoka, there's obviously like certain like shots and things like that. We obviously have the parallel between the Revenge of the Sith fight between Obi-Wan and Anakin, and then the flashback that we have. But there are also some parallels between the Reva and Ahsoka, the Reva and Vader fight, and and Twilight of the Apprentice, that are made me very upset. I talked about this a little bit, but like from the comics, we know that the Inquisitors, they are purposely trained to not be able to beat Palpatine and Vader. And, you know, some people have said that like their lightsabers are purposely kind of shit so that they would not be able to, and all these kinds of things. But Reva especially, she's young enough that she wasn't just a Jedi who defected or went to the dark side and became an Inquisitor. she was young enough that all of her training had to have been in the Inquisitorius or by herself. So it either came from fucking Quizzy or Vader himself. And it's very, I'm like, did she ever directly train under Vader? Because I love how Vader, Anakin had his little besties, and then Vader is like, I'm gonna have the dark and twisted evil versions of my old besties because I don't have my old besties anymore. And it just makes me think of her as a parallel to Ahsoka in a way, especially because Ahsoka, she doesn't choose revenge. She's very much of a, I'm no Jedi. I do whatever the fuck I want. But not revenge, but kind of deal. Anyways,
I just want to say that moment where Reva's fighting Vader, their little girl boss, boy boss battle. Vader's not a boy boss. I'm sorry.
Flopguy.
Yeah, Flopguy. Girl boss versus Flopguy. But I was really hoping for helicopter saber moment. I mean, it did start spinning, and that was very swag. But I was just like, girl, just start hovering and then kick his ass.
He also split the sabers in half.
I know, he split it in half.
Did it. I was like, Ahsoka moment? Jesus!
And then he kind of like tossed one aside because he's like, I don't need to because I'm Slay. And then they started fighting with both halves, and I thought that was very epic and cool. I love a good lightsaber fight. But also just like, Vader, I hate you.
Props to Reva because that fight fucked. Like, I was having the time of my life watching that. I loved how no matter which way he threw her, she would literally just like do like a roll or a flip and be like, I am still gonna kick your ass. Like was it kind of a flop when he stabbed her? Very much so. However, she was very slay for the entire fight. So like ratio wise, I feel like she's still pulling ahead. And I mean, I know the Inquisitors are not like trained to beat him. However, if we were to consider the Inquisitorius RuPaul's Drag Race, Hell World, if we were to consider this RuPaul's Pod Race, and I were to suggest maybe this is like a lip sync for your life, I'm just saying that she almost won. This could have I'm just
Absolutely.
saying. And what no one showed actually is that she was given the position of Grand Inquisitor because she lip synced against Quizzy, and she actually won that time. And they were like, well, you have immunity this week. And then it ran out. And he was actually Quizzy was there in every single shot, but he was turned to the side so you couldn't see him. And then for the reveal, he turned around because he's so skinny.
No. Anyways,
Noah, how old is that reference? When was the last time you think someone made a joke about that?
Years ago.
Yeah,
quite literally decades even.
Anyways, what I was going to say to that is two things I just realized. Thing number one, Reva is a lot like Maul when you think about it.
Yes.
Oh my
so
god, yeah.
True.
Absolutely fueled by revenge, taken in by the dark side without much of a choice, literally no choice, and just fucking ready to kill some bitches. Followed by two, Claudia said earlier that Anakin keeps on trying to just like find replacements for his old besties, and that is the vibe that this episode gave in a roundabout way, because there were some moments very early on in the episode with Reva and Anakin that felt very Thrawn alliances. So
we have to discuss quite a lot about Thrawn alliances in this episode, because they're not only Reva and Vader, but also the moment with they have the parallels in the past with Obi-Wan and Anakin, and he's like, your lust for vengeance or your lust for violence or whatever, I can't remember what he exactly says, that's going to be your downfall, and you're really not going to progress other than that. And a big thematic thing in Thrawn Alliances, which has a similar storytelling thing where we are in the present with Vader and Thrawn, and then we keep flashing back to Anakin and Thrawn when they first met, is Anakin as a Jedi saying to him of like, well, victory is more important than revenge. And then at some point, then we get to the Sith Lord Vader and Thrawn, who is the logical person. He does not usually use a Jedi mindset or anything like that, but and ironically, thinking about victory is also not a Jedi mindset. But he basically throws Anakin's words right back at him when he is Vader, and clearly knows that he is Vader at this point, and he's like, hey, bestie, I know you're going a little ham about this right now, but remember, victory is more important than revenge. And I feel like it almost made it almost made it deeper, and that like he had that same conversation, that same issue with Obi-Wan that then carried over, and then he had it again after with Thrawn. I was screaming and I was crying and I was throwing up. And I also think that's also why Thrawn kind of unsettles Anakin and Vader quite a lot, because these are things that his master says to him, and he's like, who is this random blue bitch who's saying the same things to me? What the fuck?
I want to briefly talk about, because I saw some people being like, oh no, are they gonna retcon Luke and Leia's first meeting being on the Death Star when he saves her? Besties, I really, not to speculate, but I really don't think Leia and Luke are gonna meet. I think she is gonna get sent back to Alderaan finally, like return to her parents. Bail, our girl dad, Bail, he's just like, can I have my daughter back now, please? And we, I think, are gonna go back to Tatooine. Obi-Wan's like, okay, I gotta go return to being a hermit and watching Luke from a distance.
And even if they did, how many people do you remember meeting in
Yeah, they're like
as a
literally,
9-year-old?
they're
Not a lot.
literally
no
like
one.
children.
I could not tell you a single thing that happened before like 2 years ago, so I'm just saying.
I also, and this is my thing about, like, I think it'd be funny if they were to meet also, because like the idea that Leia across her entire life never meets a single other human being named Luke. Like, he's like, oh, my name's Luke. And she's like, oh my God, wow, you wouldn't have this one guy from like almost a decade ago, right? Like it's been a hot minute. Have I seen? He's like, I don't know who you're talking about. Like, here's the thing. Maybe Leia would remember, but Luke for certain would not. That little gay farm boy has nothing going on up here, and I stand by that.
He was resting peacefully, didn't have a care in the world. He's just like, I'm being a little farm boy in the middle of the desert, no thoughts, head empty.
Leia is literally out here like having a galactic adventure, fighting for her life, and Luke is like, I love sand. I like the collecting water from the sand. I also just know the only reason I kind of want their kid selves to meet is because Leia would be like, I like things that are smart and interesting, and Luke would be like, I like dirt. Like, I just know that that's how it would go.
He's like, fuck Anakin. I love sand. I love that it's gritty and gets everywhere.
Once you said Maul parallels, it really made me think, because like I love to think about like Maul and Anakin as parallels of like Maul really had no choice to be in the dark side, and eventually he realizes that, and he's like, everybody has fucked me over. Everybody has fucked me over. And Anakin makes the choice. He's like, I think both the dark side and fascism are great. And he makes the choice, and he had every opportunity. Maul did not have every opportunity. Neither did Reva. And Reva's like, I guess this is it. And they have a lot of parallels, but also there is that like determination, that revenge, but also for the both of them in that they're quite systematic. They're not like crazy. They're systematic. They're political. Like, she's like, I'm going to climb through the ranks. Again, we've been talking about the workplace comedy of the Inquisitorius, but she's like, I'm going to join this company just so I can depose the VP because I hate him so much. That's the only reason I'm getting a job at this company, which is the same reason that Maul is like, I'm going to destabilize an entire system just because I want to use it to lure one motherfucker and kill one motherfucker. Like, they're super methodical and super political about it. It's very interesting to me. I think it's very interesting.
Do we have any final thoughts about this episode?
Yes.
The show is slaying.
Yeah, I mean that's the show is slay. I like this episode a lot. It was not like something that I was like, oh, finally, like this. I wasn't like it was bad before this. Like I've liked it through and through. I mostly just want to see what I want most out of it now is just a good culmination for Reva's character, because I find her so deeply interesting that I really do hope she gets to be more than dead by the end of episode 6. Like I don't mean that like in a comedy way. Like, I don't really care how it has to happen. I just want her to get to be a character beyond getting murdered by Vader or Obi-Wan.
Absolutely. That is my biggest fear going into this finale. I was like, listen, we've already killed one of our leads of color who is a woman. We can't do this again. We can't do it, loves. So here we're fighting for Team Reva for the finale. Let's go.
My thoughts on the episode, it was really good, very slay. To all the people who were like, oh, this show is sucky until like this episode, they're like, yeah, finally, a good episode. fuck you. In particular, I hope you step on a Lego. Um, and as for Cody Watch, he wasn't there, but it didn't matter because this show is still very Yas and Slay. I think Cody is just taking a vacation. That's why he hasn't been around. He's like, sorry, Obi-Wan. It's not my time to go pass away in your little boyfriend graveyard yet. I'm gonna go to Disneyland with Corky.
So true. What I will also say is that depending on what time that this flashback took place on, he could be alive. He's just on Camino. An indirect Cody mention.
He definitely was alive during that flashback because that definitely looked like Anakin was supposed to be before Attack of the Clones. During his little, because he's still got his little rat tail. So Cody, Rex, all the besties, they're just on Camino chilling.
A win for Cody Watch. Welcome to Fantastic. Fantastic is a segment wherein I have scoured the internet for the world's most buck-wild fan casts. Sometimes they're really good. Sometimes they're just dog shit. Tonight we've got a pretty mixed bag. Are you guys ready? So how this works is I'm going to name an actor or a series of actors, and everyone's going to have to guess who they have been fan casted as. I'll start off interesting. Rowan Atkinson.
Mr. Bean?
Mr. Bean.
Champ Sedula.
No.
Garza Borelios.
No.
Okay, is a human?
No.
Okay, yeah, of course I should have
Hondo
guessed.
Onaka.
No.
What era?
It's not a yes or no question.
Prequels era.
This character is in the prequels era.
Are they in the Clone Wars?
They are in the Clone Wars.
Okay. Are they also in Rebels?
Yes.
Have they been in live action?
Yes.
Oh, shit. Is it Obi-Wan Kenobi?
That is a human.
Oh, yeah. Masamita.
Nope. Masamita.
Can you imagine Rowan
What is
Atkinson's Masamita?
Also, when was he in Rebels?
I don't.
You don't remember the 5-episode Masamita arc in Rebels?
Wait,
No,
Quizzy?
No, not
When
Quizzy.
was
Quizzy was not in the
Mr.
Clone Wars.
Mr. B and Quizzy?
Oh wait, in the Clone Wars.
Where are you? Y'all
Wow. Y'all know Man versus Bee?
Not man. We can't
Wait,
do man versus
are-
bee.
Did you already answer if they were force sensitive or not?
They are not force sensitive.
Are they,
Dexter Jetster.
when
No.
is Dex in Rebels?
Yeah, when is he in
I'm
Rebels?
sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, so this character is not force sensitive. They're in both the Clone Wars and Rebels. Have they
And live
appeared-
action.
Oh, so they've appeared in a movie.
They have been in, to my knowledge, all but one movie.
C-3PO?
No.
R2?
Yes.
How would that even
Mr. Bean is
work?
R2?
I don't know how it would work, but I saw it and I was like, I have to bring it.
That is...
Why?
Not what I pictured R2's internal monologue to sound like.
No, me neither. Where are you?
Like, put him next to the fact that Ben Schwartz plays BB-8. Like,
I know. I'm like, what the fuck is this
that's
combo?
very funny.
All right, are you ready? Next one. These two. It's a group of actresses. Emma Stone. Aubrey Plaza.
Sabine Wren.
No.
Right?
No, not Ray.
Are they human?
Have they been in any of the cartoons?
Yes and yes.
Are they force sensitive?
No.
Hera Syndulla.
No.
Okay, I don't know what.
They're human, right?
Yes.
Baru White Sun.
No.
Leia Organa.
No.
Okay, Aubrey Plaza is Leia Organa.
That's just like in Troopers.
Are they in the prequels era?
Yes.
Padmé?
Amidala.
Yes, Padmé Amidala.
Emma Stone is
what?
Padmé.
Florence Pugh.
Is she Hera Syndulla?
No.
Darth Maul.
She
No.
human.
No.
Is she human?
She is human.
Force sensitive.
No.
Why
Is
did
she-
I almost say
In
Cham Syndulla?
in the prequels era.
She is technically in the prequels era, yes.
Is she in the Clone Wars?
Yes.
Is she in the Bad Batch?
No.
Okay, so a Clone Wars era character. Is that the only thing they appear in?
No.
Okay, are they in the movies?
No.
Okay. Are they in a book?
I don't think she's ever mentioned in a book.
Okay, so just Clone Wars as of right now.
Satine?
No.
Is this character in any of the shows, the TV
Yes.
shows,
In Clone
like the live action
Wars?
ones?
Bo-Katan?
Yes. Bo-Katan Kryze.
I was gonna say that. Oh, crap.
What?
Florence Pugh as Bo-Katan?
I mean,
of a
kind of
slay.
slay. Are you ready for this one? This one made me laugh. Also, it's relevant because of Stranger Things. Finn Wolfhard.
Lux Bonturi.
Kylo Ren.
Not Kylo Ren and not Lux Bonturi.
Ezra Bridger?
No.
Anakin Skywalker?
Not Anakin.
Luke?
No.
Oh,
Is he force sensitive?
No.
You said that was...
Have they been in the Clone Wars or Rebels?
They have been in Rebels.
Wedge Antilles.
No.
Martin Matten.
Yes.
Why are they whitewashing Mark Matten?
Why have they done?
Wattin?
His uncle
His uncle
is
is...
Commander Sato. What? Why would you do that? Why would you?
Why,
Not
like,
Ward
why would you...
Wattin.
Mart, I'm so sorry, King.
Of Waleb, Doom, and Wart Matten. And Wolf.
Okay, are you ready
Get
for this
that out of
next
here,
one?
Claudia.
I'm
Is
so
that-
excited.
Idris Elba. Wait. Tom Hardy.
Chamsadula!
No.
Damn it!
Gobi.
Force sensitive.
Not Gobi.
Gobi Glie.
No.
Starring in the new hit summer blockbuster Gobi, starring Idris Elba.
What is the Gobi Disney Plus series? No.
Wait, are they human?
So
They are not
it's-
human and they are force sensitive.
So it's Idris Elba and or Tom Hardy, like playing the same character.
Yes.
That's an interesting
Are they a
definition.
Jedi?
Not Kit Fisto and they are not a Jedi.
Oh,
Okay,
Maul?
but they are force sensitive.
Not they are force sensitive and it is not Maul.
Savage.
Yes, Savage Press.
Tom Hardy as Savage Opress is such a all right.
He would jump into a lobster tank as Savage
So true. Are we ready for the finale, the last one?
I'm scared.
This gentleman shows up in Fancastic so much, and I think it's because people only know a few brown actors. Taika Waititi
Uh-oh.
and Lena Dunham.
What?
Wait, for the same character?
Yes.
Chamsadula.
Not Jameson Dula.
Are they human?
Ron.
No, not human, not Gron.
Are they
Grodd.
are they a
Lena
droid?
Dunham as Grodd.
Not a droid.
Okay,
Are they
no, 'cause
force
it- no,
sensitive?
Tarek and
No.
Sarah.
No.
No, you guys hear me out. It's the hit HBO show Girls, but it's Grons, and it's just four
Get
Lena
out.
Dunhams
Get
in a
out.
room in the
Have they
Gron
been in
costume.
live action?
Yes.
Have they been in the cartoons?
I don't know if they've been in the cartoons ever.
Okay, so this is
So
a
just
non-human.
live action, bitch. Okay.
So this is a non-human, but not a droid, who could be played by Lena
Wait,
Dunham.
you said
or
they're not
Taika
force sensitive,
Waititi.
right?
They
Or
are not force sensitive.
Jabba the Hutt.
Not Jabba the Hutt.
have they been in the prequels or
Not to my knowledge, they were not in the prequel.
original trilogy?
Yes.
Would you say that this character is likely to have dated Jack Antonoff and then been cheated on by
Yes.
Lord, producing
Yes.
album Melodrama?
Yes, 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 yes.
Bib
Is this
Fortuna.
character
Not Bib Fortuna. I like where your head is at, though.
Beezer Fortuna?
Not Beezer. I wish it was
Boss.
Beezer. Not Boss.
Is this character a man?
Yes.
Hmm.
Well, I think we actually have had his pronouns. See, at least uses he, him pronouns.
Oh, so Dengar.
Not Dengar.
I could see they them
I
Dengar.
thought Dengar
Valence?
was human. Is Dengar not human?
Dengar
Oh
is
yeah,
human.
he is human.
So
I
they're
just forgot.
not force sensitive. Are they a bounty hunter?
Forlom.
I don't
Is it
know
Baylor?
what his deal is. No, it is not Valence.
Valence, even though he's a cyborg, is a
Taika
freaking
Waititi. Wait, hey,
Taika
if you're
Waititi?
listening, Taika Waititi
Lena
is
Dunham?
Valence.
Lena Dunham?
Guys,
Lena Dunham
This
as
is so
Valence?
funny because I actually
No.
just saw a Valence headcanon, like a fan cast today. It was from someone. Let me see who it was. It was Twitter user at Ollie Fresh. They said that they should play Valence.
I
in
think
live
they
action,
should.
So
I
No,
I
okay.
could see them as a good balance.
I'm just saying, you know,
I think so too, Jess. I can see it.
But I have a question. Is it Admiral Akbar?
No, it is not. Once again, I like where your head is at.
Is it
though.
Yoda?
No.
Okay, no, because hear me out on this.
Yoda's Force sensitive.
I just want to recreate every scene in Girls, but it's a Star Wars character for Lena Dunham. Perhaps even like I'm trying to think of who
We
she
don't
could
know
be.
anything.
Adam
don't
Driver. Keep Adam Driver the
We
same.
don't want to talk about
don't know.
girls, Noah.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Girls, and I want to keep it that way.
Okay, wait. You said original trilogy. Is he in all 3 movies
No,
or
he
just
is
one
not.
of them?
Is it Nine Nub?
No, it is not Nina.
Sorry for yelling.
That would have been
I was
amazing.
gonna ask about Nine Nub, but I was just like, I don't know if it would be Nine Nub.
Is he
This
in
character,
a New Hope?
He is in A New Hope.
are they in the
Is
rebellion?
it freaking?
Noah said
Is
are they
it-
in the rebellion?
No.
Is it Greedo?
Yes, it is Greedo.
Oh my god.
I like the Disney Plus original series Greedo starring Taika
Lena-
Waititi.
Oh, I
For
think
Lena Dunham.
I think it'd be way funnier. I also love that when you heard my question, you were like, and Greedo is likely to have dated Jack Antonoff at some point. Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. Thank you
That
for
was-
playing.
That was so
insane.
good. Thank you. It is time for our favorite segment, which is Name That Ship. And what this segment is one of our hosts will find a fan fiction and we will read off the relevant information like the tags, some of the other characters, the rating, etc. And the other host will have to guess who the main ship is. And I have got one today that was submitted to us by F Fauna. So it's just Fauna, but with 2 Fs. And I'm obsessed with it. I've read it like 3 times. I think it's kind of everything to me. There's not a lot of tags. Oh, it has a twist ending. So I'll go ahead without further ado. This is character A/character B and character C/character D. So there's 2 ships. Characters are character A, Sheev Palpatine, character B, Mace Windu. Additional tags: alternate universe canon divergence, fake/pretend relationship, secret relationship, assassination, canon divergence, and then it says a movie. So like everything after this movie is different. But I would say that this is more based on the era than the movie itself. It is part of a series that again has a very fun name, but I cannot. I can't read this. The summary is hilarious, but I can't read it until after.
Okay, prequels era.
It is prequels era, yes.
Okay. So is it after Attack of the Clones?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll go with, we have to guess 4 characters.
Yes. Once you get one of them, the other one is going to come really easily, but the other 2 might be a bit of a...
Anakin is one of
One is Anakin. I will read I can now read the summary. It is Palpatine gets Anakin's relationship wrong. And it is canon divergent for Revenge of the Sith.
Is Padmé one of the characters?
Padmé is character C, who's in the other relationship.
Wait,
Okay,
so,
so is
but
it-
is this a gay or straight?
This is 2 men and 2 women.
Is
So is it-
the man Captain Rex?
No. But
it-
I like where your head is at.
Is it Cody?
No.
Is the woman with Padme Ayla Secura?
No.
Is it Sabe?
No. Mel, you got the same first letter of the first name, right? It's an A name. She doesn't usually go by her first name, but
Asajj Ventress?
yeah, it's Padmé/Asajj Ventress.
That is
Slay!
very slay.
Oh
And the
my
first-
god! Quinlan Voss!
No, he is not here.
Oh my god!
This is an AU. Spoilers for Dark Disciple. This is a Dark Disciple AU where Quinlan dies instead. That's a joke, but I think it'd
is
be
the
funny.
other character Force sensitive, the one with Anakin?
No.
He's not Force sensitive, and he's a man. Is he a clone?
He is.
Yeah,
Yes.
is he- oh,
It's
God.
not Rex and it's not Cody.
It's not Cody.
Is it
Well,
No.
Fives?
Is it Fox?
No.
Boyle.
It is someone who is alive and does know Anakin canonically, has interacted with Anakin.
Hunter
Is it
Bad
Kix?
Batch.
It's
Bad
someone
Batch?
from the Bad Batch.
Is it Wrecker?
Hunter?
Crosshair!
It is Crosshair Anakin. And I'm kind of obsessed with this fic because basically what happens is Palpatine says, I'm gonna just read, it's 300 words, I'm just gonna read you the first part. This is by 19BBY on AO3. I'm obsessed with your mind. Palpatine says, it's the only way to save your wife. My what? Both Sidious and Master Windu pause to stare at him. And to be fair, he and Padme had been pretty obvious, but that had been the point. Padme and I are certainly not married. We're not even in a relationship. We're really good friends. She's like my sister, really. And when she came to me a while ago because she wanted to fake a relationship so no one would suspect what was going on with her and Ventress. And then I met someone. And that wouldn't really work out either because, well, war and stuff. So it worked for both of us. You know, it's no wonder we decided the two of us wouldn't really work out. I'm attracted to men and she's attracted to women.
That's so powerful.
And also, in this fic, Padmé and Ventress adopt 2 kids whose names are Luke and Leia.
That's so
This is the better version.
I'm obsessed with this. It's
R.I.P. George Lucas.
Also,
Revenge of the Sith Asajj's version.
they are like, there's a part where Mace is like, but she's pregnant. And he's like, oh, that was fake anyway.
Not the oh my god, I keep on calling her almost Sue Sylvester. Fucking,
Terri
Terri
Schuester?
The Terri Schusterification of Padmé.
No.
No.
Anyway, thank you so much for sending that in. This is great. It's also part of a series called Anakin / Crosshair and how they assassinate Palpatine. Good for them.
Also, okay, the user that sent that in is the same person who sent in the Obi-Wan and Cobb Vanth fic. So taste on their part, actually. Thank you for
Slay.
2 good fics in a row.
I have brought a fic to the table. I'm not gonna read the name of it because that could give it away. But the tags are character A / character B, character A, and character C. This is just, an and ship. Like they're buddies, they're pals. Okay. Then character A, character B, character C. I will row this sorry excuse for a canoe by my goddamn self. Post Order 66. Character B lives. Force sensitive character B. Scrapping by in a war-torn galaxy. Character A is a bounty hunter. They're both little shits and in love. You do know they're only like 3 to 5 years apart in age, depending how old character B is. Reluctant allies to lovers. I'm not going to read that tag because it will give away character A. Character C takes one look at every clone and goes, wow, this sure sibling shaped. And character C is not super prominent, but shows up regularly. Those are all the tags.
Okay, so
I have something I want to say very quickly. This is not it. I know for a fact it's not it, but you said they're not that far apart in age, and I was like, is it Lando and Obi-Wan? I don't know where that came from in my head, but I needed to put it out there.
Okay, so how many of them are... There's 3 characters to guess. The first 2 are in...
The first 2 are ship.
So how are all of them Mandalorian?
In this fic.
Originally Mandalorian, I might say. Not in this fic.
One of them is originally Mandalorian.
And then in this fic, another one
Character B is originally Mandalorian.
Okay, but then did they say that character B is something else in this fic?
They said that she's force sensitive.
They're
so that
force sensitive in this fic.
Is it Satine Kryze?
No.
Fuck.
Is it
Padmé?
Is one of the characters Din Djarin?
No.
Bo-Katan Kryze.
No. Mel, if you
armorer.
have the...
Are they all women?
Mel, you're heading in the right
Hang on.
direction.
Okay, so Bo-Katan, is it right that it's a female Mandalorian?
No, they're not. The ship is not lesbians. I'm sorry.
Okay.
This is 2 men.
Damn it! Okay.
Gar Saxon.
No.
Okay, so the ship has one Mandalorian and one person who now is a Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Is my homeboy Axe Woves in this?
No, it's not Axel.
Boba
Fett is character A.
Okay, and then character B, are they force sensitive?
Yes, and this character B is force sensitive. They are not originally force sensitive.
Is it Corky Kryze?
It is Corky Kryze.
Then I
Oh my God,
feel like I've seen
slay.
this. I feel like I've seen this.
Is character
fic.
C Obi-Wan?
No.
Is character C Ahsoka?
No.
Character C is just a character who shows up sometimes. Is character C Mandalorian?
Character C is also not Mandalorian.
Is it Bounty Hunter? Are they force sensitive?
No.
Is
Omega.
it Hondo Onaka?
It's Omega.
That's so powerful. It's so
Yeah.
powerful.
And this fic, Boba is being a Mandalorian because, canonically, he's like, I'm not a Mandalorian. And
I think that's
Corky
very
is now
slay.
force sensitive. And Omega is there because, she's Boba's sister. Because she's like, wow, clones are sibling shaped.
Thank you so much for joining us this week on RuPaul's Pod Race. Episodes usually drop on Sundays, and while Kenobi is airing, we're back to weekly episodes. But for updates, Star Wars news, and more curse shit, follow us on social media at RuPaul's Pod Race on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And if you want to ask us a question, send us a question to our TikTok Q&A or email us at rupalpspadres@gmail.com. And if you really love the show, please rate and review our show on Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, Spotify, or Overcast. It means a lot to us every single time. May the force be with you, and don't kriff it up.
Waka waka.
Waka waka waka.
Waka waka.